What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to my channel. Today I've got some more entitled parent stories for you all, so sit back, relax, and let's get straight into them. You can easily build it back afterwards. I'm an AFOL, an adult fan of Lego. I build models and show them at exhibitions. We're not talking about just simple sets. Those models we show are freely designed things, sometimes several square meters in size, and with an insurance value in the 5 digits. Wow. The models are placed usually behind barriers or glass fronts to prevent the obvious. So my friends and I are prime meat for entitled parents and their kids. On one occasion, I was explaining some details of my model to some visitors when an entitled mum asked me to hand her one of the cars from my model. Okay, when I'm talking with a fellow model builder who knows how to handle them and wants to learn something about hidden details, this is no problem. But this woman wanted to have my model so her nice little boy could play with it. Needless to say, those models are designed only for show. They are usually not even close to being robust to play with. My rejection was countered with a barrage containing parts like I was ungrateful, she paid the entry fee to the organizer, I didn't get anything except a symbolic gift, Lego is a toy so kids should be able to play with it, and well, if it breaks, I can just assemble it back. What is this entitled mum talking about? Yeah, I guess, but that's the same as a house. Like, if your house falls down, surely you can rebuild your house. That is the most stupid logic I've ever heard. I mean, you're saying that some of these Legos are insured for over 5 figures. That means they're probably pretty valuable and probably pretty technical to build. Does this Karen think you can just rebuild an entire Lego in a few minutes? That's not how it works. She wrote down the info from my name tag to complain to Lego about my unhelpful behavior. Hints, I don't work for Lego, I just happen to build my models with their products. When she stormed off, an elderly man who witnessed the exchange congratulated me on my controlled handling of that stupid female dog. You know what, guys, I think we should just come to expect that this is how entitled parents work, right? They have no logic, they're just stupid. I don't know why I keep questioning these stories, they're just idiotic people. It seems to me like these people were almost programmed to be this stupid at birth. I just need to accept that. You know, this story reminds me of that story we read before about the guy that had his Lego destroyed. If you haven't seen it, click the I button, it's up there or up there, but go and watch it. Trust me, after this video, it's an absolute cracker. Now for our second story. Entitled mum thinks I am possessed by Satan because of my deaf left ear. Backstory. I was born with my left ear beating deaf. Nothing wrong with it, it's just that the tube connecting the brain and the ear is too thin for sound to pass. People don't treat me differently, I don't get bullied for it, my life is technically as normal as yours, until now. I was at the train station waiting for a train to go home. I was listening to music and not doing anything to disturb anyone. Note that because of my deaf ear, I only put the earphone in one ear. Enter the person you are all waiting for with her offspring on my left side. Now guys, remember his left ear is the one that's deaf. The entitled mum says something I cannot hear because I'm deaf, so I don't notice her. Then she starts screaming. I finally notice and take off the other earphone. I'm sorry, what? I said stop listening to music, it is disrespectful. You kids and your technology are just trying to show off your money. I'm already tired of her at this point. Miss, I have all the rights in the world to listen to my music. Now please leave me alone. I put my earphone back in. The entitled mum keeps screaming things I cannot hear, so I ignore her. Then the entitled mum screams directly into my left ear. Note, while it may be blocked, high sounds will hurt more than the normal ear. I will explain if needed. So imagine your ears being doors and sound being balls. If the door is open, sound goes through. If the door is closed, the balls will make the door vibrate. I hope this is enough. Yeah, that does make sense. So I take out my earphone again. Yo, what the heck? Stop pretending you cannot hear me. Your left ear is out in the open, you idiot. I look at her offspring, who looks embarrassed. This ear is deaf, which means I cannot hear from it. At this point, she looks shocked. I thought it was because I screamed back, but apparently no. Satan, you are possessed by Satan. What? The left is Satan's side. You are possessed by him. So I say calmly, so let me get this straight. The almighty Satan, king of heck, source of all wrongdoing, would take the body of a young girl who has a disability as a host. I think she then came back to her senses because she stormed off without saying a word. 100% works. I mean, just the fact that this entitled mum doesn't want you to use technology in public look is enough to annoy me, right? Like, who are you, lady? You're not a policeman. You can't tell me what to do. I just don't really understand why people like this feel the need to try and control other people's lives. Come on. And also, surely when you scream into somebody's ear and they don't respond, it may suggest to you that they could be deaf or have some form of hearing disability. I mean, even if you think they might have heard you, that probably suggests that you're annoying them. Just go away, do something else. Oh, anyway, what a story. Let's move on to our next one. Entitled Mum wants my boyfriend to be sick. Fine, he's sick. Let me set the stage. This was a couple of weeks ago when me and my boyfriend, who is Chinese, important for later, were out at a public park enjoying a nice weekend day afternoon. It was relatively warm and the sun was shining, so we figured we'd just walk a few laps and enjoy the weather. We saw an ice cream cart, got some, he paid, what a gentleman, and sat down on the nearby bench and began eating it. I was enjoying it when I saw some lady with the angriest scowl walk running towards us. "Where is your face mask?" looking at my boyfriend. We both said, "What?" "You heard me. Are you trying to get us all infected?" "What are you talking about? He didn't do anything wrong." "Yes, he did. He's going to infect my entire family with the virus." I assume she was talking about the coronavirus as she was staring daggers into my boyfriend. She pointed to her family, who was standing quite a ways back. The father had his head in his hands and the boy, who looked about maybe 5 or 6, was sitting on the ground playing with the grass. Yeah, you can just tell her husband is already so disappointed and embarrassed about what this entitled woman is doing. "Lady, I am not sick. Just because I'm Chinese, it doesn't mean I'm infected with the plague. Now we are trying to enjoy our day together, so can you just get the F away?" "No, you are." She then grabbed my boyfriend's forehead. Me and my boyfriend just stared at her in disbelief. As the seconds dragged by, she let go, dug into her oversized purse, and pulled out some hand sanitizer. She then poured copious amounts of it onto her hands like she's trying to burn them off. "He's warm." I snapped out of it and I stand up so suddenly she backs up a bit. "Don't you ever touch my boyfriend again." I turn to him. "Let's get out of here before I do something I regret. This lady just wants you to be sick." My boyfriend stands up and smirked at me. He then took a deep breath and began the loudest and most exaggerated coughing fit I've ever seen. She instantly turned around, ran to her family, and got out of there like a bat out of heck. We start laughing. Oh, I love the inclusion of the bat there, you know, because the coronavirus came from a bat, supposedly. You get it? Maybe not. That was so mean. Hey, if she wanted me to be sick that badly. Luckily, we managed to salvage the rest of our day and we had no further problems from anyone else. Some people, as we've seen in this subreddit over the past year of covering it, just don't really understand the way the world works. See, the problem with the coronavirus now is that people are just so worried about getting it, more so than the actual worry of the virus itself. It's people like this Karen who clearly are embarrassing her family behind her, who are just making this so much more crazy than it needs to be. But on top of that, the quite embarrassing racism clearly shown in this story is a little bit too much for me. Like, that's too far. I mean, sure, it makes sense to be worried about a pandemic like this one, which is killing people. That makes perfect sense to me, but don't bring race into it. That's way too far. It's also just not even accurate anymore, right? The number of cases in China is going down day by day, whereas across the world, it's going up. I mean, if you're gonna bring race into it, at least make sure your accusations are based in reality. Alright then, now let's move on to our fourth and final story. My HOA, Homeowners Association complaint, inadvertently broke up an entitled mum's marriage. Do dog mums count? Yeah, I'd say they do. This happened a few years ago, but I still think about it. After being blessed with great neighbors over the years, I started taking it for granted. Then Luna, her 4 dogs, all the same breed, and family, 2 teens and a husband, move in the house next door. It started off well enough. Luna was friendly and the kids and husband seemed nice. But soon she decided that the best place for her dogs to go potty was my backyard. I didn't agree, and after suffering in silence for a few weeks, I'm not very confrontational, I finally told her that my backyard wasn't her personal dog park. When they got home from work, they would let their dogs loose to go running in my backyard, to play and go potty. One day I happened to catch them and came out onto my patio to tell them to cut it out. The dogs turned around and started running towards me while barking aggressively. Fortunately, her husband called them off before the little ankle biters got to me. And it wasn't just the dog that liked to hang out in my backyard. Luna liked to walk around my backyard while talking on her phone. One of the things I like about my house is the privacy. It backs onto the woods, so I don't have a lot of curtains on my back windows and doors. But since Luna liked walking around my yard, I was forced to curtail my habit of cleaning while scantily dressed. And it was creepy, yeah, I'm sure. Once, after it had snowed, I realized that someone had walked up to my back patio and had been peeping in my French doors. Not long after, someone left a gift of poo on my front porch welcome mats. Jeez, I wonder who did that. But then Luna seemed to want to repair our rather rocky relationship and asked me what time I got off work. We could do cocktails and hang out. I thought, whatever, biatch. So I told her, but no get together ever materialized. I realized later that she just wanted to know what time I got home from work. What she didn't know was that I sometimes worked at home. On one of those days, I caught her once again letting the dogs loose in my yard, so I took a photo and sent it to the HOA. I think she was also sneaking her dogs into my other neighbor's fenced backyard. Alright, can I just say at this point, why doesn't she just let her dogs into her own backyard? Or maybe she doesn't have one, but come on, not into your neighbor's backyard, woman. The ramifications were swift. That complaint was the straw that broke the camel's back. The marriage was already on shaky ground, and the husband was tired of her and her dog hoarding. I only saw 4 dogs at a time, but there were more. I didn't notice because they all looked alike. The next thing I knew, she and the dogs had moved back to South America. The kids went to live with relatives/college, and the husband was acting like someone who won the lottery. He always seemed somewhat grumpy before, but after she left, he was smiling and friendly. Then he bought a Harley, got a girlfriend, and proceeded to rid the house of copious amounts of urine-stained carpets. He was eventually evicted from the house. Yes, they were renters, because the owners were sick of the complaints and fines and decided to move back in. Luna apparently had a gift for peeing off the neighbors on my block. The weird thing is that there were a couple of vacant lots and a dog park less than a block away. But apparently her neighbors' yards were the best place to take her dogs. I mean, that is what I'm saying. Why does she choose to be so annoying on purpose? What is the point? I just don't get Karens like this. Why is it their sole intention in life to just annoy all of their neighbors and people they know? Why? You're telling me there's a dog park less than a block away, but Karen can't be bothered to walk there. Why? And yes, I know, I'm saying why a lot, but I'm just dumbfounded. What is going on? Anyway, I think that's a good place to leave this episode of Entitled Parents. Honestly, if I read another story, I don't think I'll be able to take the entitlement anymore. If you guys have enjoyed it, feel free to watch another one right away. There's one there. You choose whichever one you fancy. Also, if you want to, hit the subscribe button on my face right now.